All right. So while everybody's out in their breakout room, what we're going to do is we're going to jam, and this is kind of an arena thing. Typically, we'll stream this live, so you could watch the live stream. Um, but here we got another couple minutes of breakout rooms, and I'm curious, Laurel, you just went on a wait list. That's been fun, and all kinds of stuff. Now, there's a question that came in on the Man Bites Dog from a Man Bites Dog paid member, and said, okay, Laurel's on a wait list. And I love the concept. So you can see psychologically all the things that happen when you're on a wait list: supply, demand. You kind of control kind of the narrative, and you can have a better onboarding experience. Her question was, what how would you recommend getting a similar psychological benefit, right? Like the demand and the slowing people down, and you can filter through the wait list, the quality of clients. If somebody doesn't have an audience as large as yours and they wanted to get the same kind of some of the benefits of a wait list, what would you have them do?
Honestly, I wouldn't have them do it at all. Because like in order to create demand, you have to have the demand from something, right? So you need something that's going to create volume. So somehow we would have to do something that would get the amount of volume. Otherwise, how are you going to get the demand for the wait list if no one actually wants the thing, right? I mean, even whenever I first started, we'll go back almost 6 years now. I launched the $7 program in 2018, and the way that I did it for Black Friday, because I was testing the concept, the whole point of it, actually, I don't talk about this a lot, but I was testing the concept at $7, and I was actually going to raise the price come January to $47. And so like that automatically created a whole bunch of demand for people who are already sitting in my audience. But I think a lot of people forget that when I launched the $7 program, I already had 3,000, 4,000 messenger conversations that were sitting in my messenger because I had already launched an agency offer. I had already launched a higher ticket offer that was kind of doing this, but still nonetheless, I had talked to about 3,000 to 4,000 people that were already sitting inside my messenger. And so by the time that I launched the $7 program, I already had the volume that I needed to, one, prove the concept, and then two, get enough people in there to be able to warrant, okay, I'm going to raise the price to $47. But there was magic that started happening inside the program where I didn't want to stop the volume. A lot of volume was coming in at $7. And so I was like, you know what? Everyone told me I should raise the price. I'm just going to keep it at $7 because I really love this volume. And so no matter like whether you're starting out or whether you have an audience, we have to create volume somewhere. You might already have volume somewhere, but there needs to be some type of volume somewhere. That I don't think you
Mhm.
can create demand without volume.
Well, to that point, and that's true, especially in the context of a $7 thing, right? Because how many $7 things you need to sell to pay your bills? A
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
So one of the ways that you could think about, just to expand upon that, a wait list. I'll give you an example. Is the letter is on a wait list. The arena is on a wait list, and the way that we develop our wait list, and you're similar, whether you did it intentionally or not, because we have a lot of conversations about it, is if you focused on product quality and experience above all else, what happens is there becomes, it's not a fake wait list. You say, okay, so using the letter as an example, the letter was like, there's a very specific experience that we want to deliver. And we said, how can we get them to buy, not really know what they're buying, and then blow their minds as quickly as possible? And that speed was important. So we set this thing up, and there's like engraved. You're a letter subscriber, you get all that crazy welcome package, right? And I want it sent out the second you order. I want it in the engraver, engraving your name, and shipped out the same day. Otherwise, the product is not quite what I want it to be. So when we open enrollment, well, I reached out to the engraver and I said, how many can you ship out same day without fail? And he said 8. So our enrollment period is 8. It's not a fake number. It's that ninth person is going to get a slightly worse experience. And I'm not okay with that. Right. So and for Laurel, Uh, we talked about it. It's like, okay, if this I love the volume, but if it continues, the experience diminishes. So it wasn't an arbitrary, let's go on a wait list. It was really thinking about what do I want to deliver. And if you focus on that, the product will start to sell itself and you got your advertising and all that stuff. Uh, but then you just pay attention. When is the product or experience no longer what I need it to be? That's when it's time to start going. We got to throttle down enrollment because the product's being diminished. So it's another way to think about it is you just do really great work until the work starts to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great time to start thinking about wait list of sorts.
Yeah, there's no way. And the reason that I say volume, and volume is very like relative to what you want to do, right? So let's say like, right, I want to open up my wine club across the street, right? I might put on people on a wait list after I sell 3 of them and be like, well, I can only serve 3 people. So
Mhm.
I think volume is relative to what you're actually trying to sell. Like, but at the end of the day, you have to figure out what is the volume that you need in order to be able to get enough so that you can know what enough is actually is. And so I think that's a thing that I should have mentioned is it just depends on like what you said, like, like there's 8 people. Maybe you only need 20 people in your audience to be able to sell 8 people into this, this wait list thing. And so you just have to kind of think, but it all starts with being able to know what is your volume. Like for me, the $7 program, like the first cap that I ever put on was 1,000. I think Nick, you probably remember this, where we were like, cool, we're going to close enrollment for a couple of weeks just so that we can fix the onboarding because it was a nightmare. And so I was like, I don't, because when I first started telling people we're going to put a cap at 1,000, but as soon as I started improving the actual content of the program, I was like, I think I can get 1,500. And then we improved it again. And so we would have these stop and starts where we were optimizing for a couple of months to where now I am at my absolute, like if I'm going to continue to serve my students at the highest level, which by me still doing 2 Zoom coaching calls, me still doing a weekly Q&A, me still doing the updates to the program, 4,000 was like the absolute max. But it was because I had the volume to be able to test what that max actually was. Because otherwise, if I wouldn't have kept testing, I would have stopped at 1,000 versus the 4,000. Because I think a lot of people don't stop and maximize and optimize before they actually maximize things. And so I think that's where people get into trouble because they don't think that, oh, I should optimize this before letting more people in. And then it diminishes the whole thing, like just the value of the program because they've taken on too many people.
I'll make a note here for Kevin, who is here. A mouse cannot be the size of an elephant. That is the concept that explains what you're talking about. There's a whole article and a video, and I'll make sure that it's linked on the resources here. If you want to get on the wait list for Laurel's program, waitforlaurel.com. We're about to bring back all the arena members, and we're gonna go to battle with them. If you want to learn about the arena, engagethefield.com. It is on a wait list, but if you get on the wait list, one, you'll keep your spot nice and high, and 2, we'll send you a bunch of free stuff. Kevin, you want to end that recording real quick and then we'll chop this off? Or we can just keep it rolling. We'll clean it up. Doesn't really matter.